Hey, Michael, how are you? We'll give it a couple of more minutes to see if anybody else will be joining. If not, this will be another fantastic personal webinar for you. Okay, so are you able to see my slide? It says the three pillars. It says my name, Stacy Krizan, and the date of the webinar. Fantastic. Okay, we're going to get started. Today, we're going to discuss the third pillar of launch success. My name is Stacy Krizan, and I am a launch coach and a cryo contouring studios owner. So today's April 8th. It's webinar 3 of 3, and we're going to discuss how to promote your cryo skin or your contouring business in the launch of your business. I am a owner of a studio called Cryo Contouring Studio. I am also hosting some training programs and a master trainer for Artemis on the CryoSkin and Niche Skin platform. And I also have my own consulting and coaching company. So below this slide, you can see a couple of links to contact me directly if you're looking for any of those types of resources. So today, what I hope you learn is how to convert awareness to revenue. At the end of the day, you're investing in a business, and I'm sure you hope to capitalize on that with a return in money and enjoyment of your days. Now, when you start a business, there's so much to do, and it's often so easy to be caught up in being reactive. So the purpose of these 3 series of webinars is to teach you how to be proactive. So you're missing, so that way you're able to be proactive in garnering long-term success. I'm going to teach you how to do that from the very start. It's really important that you have really strong quality of your activities, not just quantity of your activities. And if you pay close attention to the 3 foundational pillars, you'll have greater revenue success and you'll really enjoy your work life. So let's recap. The first pillar was people. Your greatest resource is your people. The people that you're going to be working with in this business, whether that's people that you hire, your staff that you're training and employing, your future clients, your advocates, and your influencers in your community. It also starts with you. What is the reason you're here? What is it that drives you day to day, and why you started this business and how it impacts the people in your life? The second one was process. How do you create a predictable process so your clients have this a predictable, amazing client experience? And today we're going to talk about promotion. So I want you to look at all these icons to the right. These are all the different ways in which you're going to communicate the elements of your business. And in particular, probably the benefits and the types of problems you solve with the treatments that you're offering. So when I go to the top and come down, you can see there's 2 people sitting at a desk and they're talking. So essentially that's you and your future clients or the people you're connecting with. That's really where the rubber meets the pavement. And that's where you're able to discuss with them in person at a consultation about what it is they're looking for. When you move over to the right, there's Google My Business, there's Facebook, The phone icon is intended to remind you to get on the phone, to call your clients, to call your prospects, answer the phone when they're trying to reach you. The globe right there is the World Wide Web. Everyone goes from like seeing something on social media, probably hits their computer for search terms, and probably lands at your website to find more information. Some of the other more entertaining and educational platforms that many of our clients are using these days are the social ones. You can see Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, and then the Meta. How do you communicate and tie all them together? Usually through Meta is a fantastic platform, or Business Manager, where you're able to be more efficient in your communications, as well as go from organic advertising or organic education to also paid education. The icons on the bottom are intended to remind you to have direct conversations where you actually have a person at the other end, not just one to many, but maybe one to one. An email goes directly to somebody's inbox. A green text message, or on other phones, I think it might be blue, where it goes directly to somebody's cell phone. Hopefully somebody who can connect you to your future prospect or a prospect that is interested in your services. And then the little squiggly line to the right is the DMs, whether it's in Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, and all of the other ways that people can directly message you from the social platforms. We're going to go a little bit into details about what you can do with those different platforms. What is the action that you're looking to move your clients from? And then how to get them in person. Does that make sense? Now, this is a real reminder that all of those platforms are intended for you to communicate efficiently with people not sitting right in front of you. But I do want you to remember, at the end of the day, you need clients that come into your brick and mortar business, either through a conversation on the phone, a text, and a set up an appointment where you're having this in-person interaction. The handshaking is essentially a symbolism of they have a problem, you have a solution, and you come to agreement on the terms in which that engagement will transpire. The goal is that you get them on the massage table where you're able to do their treatments, and that they, after the end of that treatment or during or before the treatment, that you have agreed upon a cadence of further relationship, the cost, and the time period in which they're going to get these results. So this is really important because you want to move people from chit chat and social environments to an actual getting their problem resolved with your business. Now, we first talked about people, then we talked about the process, and today we're going to talk about promotion. So I use the word promotion because it's, first off, because it rhymes, where it has the cadence of the 3 Ps, right? People, process, and promotion. But I want you to know that promotion, it doesn't necessarily need to be spammy. You do not need to be salesy. If you have a fantastic offer, something that solves a problem, a significant problem of your prospects, then you should not feel desperate. You should not feel salesy. And your goal is to educate your audience, your ideal client profile, on the problem that you resolve and how they can go about it with your business and your services. So I just want to caveat that if you're feeling salesy and promotional, the tactic is you're promoting, but this shouldn't come across that way. And so we can probably work offline to help you probably fine tune some of your communication elements so that way you don't come across like you're hitting everybody up for just money. So there's 5 ways in which I'd like to discuss common ways that I find that are most effective in getting the education out to your audience. So you're basically going to be doing events and education. So whether that education is at a live event or it's an event that's online or through communication on the social platforms, the digital platforms, or for you from your phone, via your phone to their inbox or to their ear. You're going to want to think about the tools. the content that you're going to be sharing, potentially having some printed materials. It doesn't need to be excess. I would suggest printed materials should be just basically referral cards in lieu of a business card that simply gives the QR code, maybe so that way they can get a consultation or redeem an offer and know the facts about your business, where you're located, and how to contact you. And the digital assets, meaning like what are you going to list online? So I'm going to go through those first. Then we're going to go into the referral and how to invite more people using referrals. We're going to also discuss feedback and testimonials, so different ways that you can get information from your audience about your experience. So that way you can use all of these types of content in your proactive advertising. So your experience and your interactions are actually the same content you're going to be using later on to educate more people, and you create this flywheel essentially. And of course, when you have an interaction with them, you do always need to follow up with your audience. Specifically, if you have a consultation or an in-person meeting of sorts, please make sure you have the process to follow up and talk to them about their next steps. So first, let's go into in-person demonstrations and the content associated with that. Now, how are you going to get them there? You want, your ultimate goal is to get clients, right? You want somebody who's going to pay you for your problem solving, right? So in order, that person is essentially starts out as a lead. So you go from awareness, somebody who understands who you are and the problem you solve, and then they express interest and they share their contact information. You now have a lead. Congratulations. That is somebody who raises their hand and says, yes, Stacy, please help me with my problem. Now, how do you capture that contact information? So you should have some sort of contact form, and it probably is either a form. It could be as simple as a Google form, or it can be as complicated as some sort of like pop-up that goes on your website. But you do need a way to capture the contact. And by contact, it should be what it is they're interested in. In this case, I'm showing you an example of a discount off a first-time treatment. So in this case, I'm showing you, if you redeem and click on my offer, it's $50 off my first-time client treatment. So when you click on the link, it's going to ask you your name, your first, your last name, your cell phone, your email, and then I know you're interested in a $50 off your first treatment. Now, this is where you get to be creative. It doesn't have to be $1 off. It doesn't have to be on the first time treatment. It could be on a different service that drives them into your location for education on that. And then you're able to give them a more detailed information on all the services, or the cryoskin and the knee skin services that you're most interested at this time in educating them on. Now, the important thing is to think of these 6 elements when you're creating your offer. Who are you targeting? So your target audience, and you want to describe them. So in my case, I usually describe my target audience as a busy professional woman who is juggling life, family, and career, and doesn't have time to take care of their body needs on their own. They want results faster. So I just described to you my target audience. And some of the words in there, if you think about it, a busy professional means they're working. Juggling family means they're a mom. Doesn't have time, that means they value their time more than the actual money that they can make during that time, right? So, and they haven't been able to get this resolved elsewhere. So essentially, I'm saying you've done the work, you've looked elsewhere, you've tried other things, and now you're recognizing that you cannot achieve these results without the help of something like this. Now, the specific problem I described there too, did you get it? It was wanting to get your body goals addressed and in less time, or with predictability that you're not able to do on your own. The pain associated with the problem. So you want to know, what is that pain? So maybe the pain that maybe the pain is something along the lines of they just feel so dragged down, tired, fatigued, frustrated with themselves. And how do they accommodate these problems? So meaning, what in their lifestyle are they doing to just compensate for this? So this is really important as you think through this dynamics, because some people, when you're first starting out, you're thinking, the offer is $50 off, but these are the types of iterations you're going to have when you see them in person during your consultation. You want to walk through this type of outline to understand how important it is that they get this problem resolved, and if they're the right target audience that you can serve with great efficiency and success. So when you understand what problem they have, you understand what accommodations they've had. For example, my clients typically, either they're wasting money because they're trying so many things, or they just avoid certain behaviors. So if you understand all those things, then you ask them these questions, they feel as if you understand them intimately and they trust you. Then I want you to talk to them about like the action. So that would be how quickly do you want to get this resolved? Meaning, this is where you're able to talk to them about the solution over the course of maybe 10 treatments or 15 or 20 treatments, whatever their problem is, how large the problem is. It's really important that you make a realistic recommendation, because that way, when they come back and say, oh, this didn't work, you could remind them that you had recommended, solution A, which had a greater success, and they chose to compromise that with a lower offer. So additionally, if you give them this, idea that they're looking to decrease inches and get to, confident body on the sidelines of their, vacation or what have you, and they want to rock their, bikini, and they just want to feel fantastic and carefree. And when you do the consultation, it's going to take 15 or 20 treatments. Make sure you do give them that recommendation, because they're more likely to choose you if they feel confident that you're going to resolve their bigger problem, not just a cheaper problem. And then your goal is to get them the next step, which is to start that treatment and create urgency. So I like to think of when you see somebody who's got expressing interest and saying, hey, Stacy, I really have this problem. I'm really interested in this offer. The most important predictor of success for your business is your speed to respond. And why is speed so important? Because when somebody sees something, it's fresh out of their mind. And if you call them or text them or email them right away, it validates the importance of their problem and that you're going to handle their problem with urgency. So I actually like to think of like myself as a 911 center. It's like, as soon as I see a lead, my staff is equipped to either quick, answer the call, or to send them a text and say, hey, I saw you're having this issue. I'd like to get your problem resolved ASAP. And it's really, really important that you act with that urgency rather than not do what most businesses do and kind of just let the lead sit there until they keep pestering you for an interaction. And that might never happen, right? Because once they click that link and give you that information, they probably moved on to their next issue, which might be juggling their life again, and totally forgot that they were interested in this because they just saw it and it was like a fleeting moment. So it's really important that you handle their desires to get the problem with great urgency. Okay, so awareness versus sales, right? So when you're online, I consider this as like you educating your audience, so that way they know who you are. And you can also do that through entertainment. So, on social media, I like to keep things educational, but also entertaining or engaging. So, social media is intended to be social. So go out there and not necessarily in your organic posts, don't always have to be so promotional. It can be educational and potentially entertaining, so they can understand what it is that you're doing and how much you enjoy serving your audience. Now, the two images here are of the Google My Business and the website. So I would say these are probably the first two very important things to just get updated. Now, the why is that? Because I kind of consider these things as somewhat evergreen, meaning once they're out there on the internet, you don't need to update them like you do your other posts on social media. But these should have the factual information about your business. So that way, when people go on and search for you, they're able to have the accurate information, and it's consistent between your business listing on Google and your website. And why is that important? Because when you're doing, search engine optimization, Google and your website looks, I mean, the online searches look for consistency, and it increases the trust. And they believe it creates greater search results when they're consistent. If you have, for example, some people will list, let's say they have a typo in CryoSkin or Neve Skin or their business, and then they have a typo in something else, or they, have one showing up in one location and then they never updated it on their Google My Business. So now you have two different things working against each other because the search metrics are kind of competing rather than complementing each other. So I hope that makes sense. So minimally get your listing on Google My Business. Make sure your account has the right address. If you're able to update it with products and services, just to be able to have more data available when you're hitting search, when your prospects are searching for you. And then on your website, if you have, just update the service listing so they can find that you're adding this new service, and use the same language in both of those sites. Now, the part that gets a little bit more exciting are all the things on social and the way you're interacting in a more timely and, I would say, engaging way. So Facebook, Instagram, Meta, and LinkedIn and YouTube. I would say these are the platforms that I use regularly. Now, keep in mind, these are not the only ones. There's also Twitter. There's also Snapchat. There's TikTok. There's so many other social platforms that are, emerging. But I would absolutely encourage you, minimally get your Facebook and your Instagram assets up to date for your business. And also consider your personal listings, meaning like your personal Facebook and Instagram pages. So make sure you get them updated, and make sure you're proactively making regular, consistent posts on your organic feeds. There's a couple ways that you can do that. You can do some of these schedulers, like these social schedulers, whether you use Canva, you can use Meta, you can go in any of the other types. There's so many now that, bridge one content and it posts to many different social platforms. I will encourage you, though, to pick a primary platform, and that you have your post potentially optimized for that platform, and the other ones then can be a secondary, more of like a secondary post. So in our case, I encourage our Instagram posts to be this primary source. So our professional Instagram is where we spend most of our energy. And there you could see, I believe that one is the one in the middle. We currently, in the last 30 days, it looks like we have 284 posts. We have 503 followers, and you can see we've reached about 6,000 accounts in the last 30 days. The little blurb or the image on the top right is our Facebook page. And there we also, share the post from Instagram to Facebook, but they're usually more optimized for Instagram. Now, this is where the part that some people might find give me a little pushback. So you can see on the top left, I have Stacy Krizan's Facebook page. Now, some people, businesses, prefer to keep their personal and their professional completely separate. And so I think that's okay, but I want to encourage you that if you're a business owner or a provider, and people know you in your community, and this is your job or this is your livelihood, consider having somebody, whether it's your manager or create another profile for whoever it is that's kind of your spokesperson, and consider them also sharing some content on their personal page. I don't expect you to have the same exact content. Like you shouldn't be, always promoting that you're doing body contouring. If you're also like your personal page, for example, you're a mom, you're a community, member, you have so many different hats. So I would just be cognizant that you, on your personal page, you should show all of your hats, not just your contouring one. Okay. Then the bottom ones you can see are LinkedIn, YouTube, and the one on the bottom right is Meta. So those are also areas that I use. LinkedIn, I'm just starting to use because I'm also promoting my professional LinkedIn. And so I created some business pages, but I would say that's really intended as a learning platform for me, and it's not a primary source of education or lead generation. The middle one you can see is the YouTube channel. So most of the content that I plan to repurpose for Instagram or Facebook, I sometimes will just use the YouTube channel as a storage for longer content that I would make into shorter reels and such later. Again, I consider YouTube as just more of like, I would call it like a reference or like a, kind of like a library per se, not necessarily where I'm getting leads, but it's really intended for me to just store content that I might use later. And then Meta, is where you can see the metrics of your social posts, of your organic posts, as well as your paid posts. And you can also do a lot of your responding and correspondence and scheduling in that platform. Now, again, these platforms are not intended for you to just be on here and get lost in the rabbit hole. The goal of being on these platforms from a professional perspective is to educate people, entertain them, but you're ultimately trying to get engagement in your audience, and that way you can invite a person, right? Remember, you want a lead. So that a lead means a person who raises their hand, shares their contact information, and says, I have a problem and I'd like you to help me with it. So don't get lost like so many people, particularly, all of us that are learning DIY and we're trying to learn new skills, and we kind of binge some sort of TikToks or Reels or Instagram stuff. And we forget that we're here for work. Because time is money. So if you're wasting time on some of these platforms and you're not getting engagement, then you're also potentially not making money. Okay, so other ways to educate and entertain is through events. So here I'm showing you an event that I did, and you can see the details of the information. It says I'm hosting a cryo transformation event. It's at the event, we're going to have face and body demonstrations. I state the time, the place, and the date. And then I just give a little teaser that there will be live contouring demonstrations with Q&A. So if you were to click on that on my website and in some of my social posts, it would allow you to just add this event to your calendar, and also enter your contact information and express interest that you're interested in getting educated at this event. And then I'm showing you some images from some of these events. Now, this is just one example of one event. This was an in-person event that I did at a retail location that I also was renting space in. So instead of doing this inside my treatment room, I rolled the device, or actually have, some of the services available in the lounge and in the lobby section, in the more open area, and not just one-on-one in the treatment room. But keep in mind, this is just one. So, when I was launching, I think my goal, I probably did at least one or two events every month. So I would try to hit a cadence of every 2 weeks doing some sort of educational demonstrations, whether it was something like this where everybody is invited, or I did it through a small invitation list. So there's all different ways, but I highly encourage that you try a couple of different formats to see what works, what you enjoy. And at every single one of those events, it's really important that you take some photos. that you get some content, because the information and all of the learnings from the event are also going to be used for you to educate and attract more people, so you can engage them and invite them to your upcoming events. So you can, again, see the two people at the right at the table. They're having a consultation where you're going to broker the deal, where they're going to be your client for the next 10 weeks. Another way to get leads is through email campaigns. So you can send an email campaign to many, right? You can write an email template with a couple of links, some images, some call to action, and you can send it out to a distribution list. And then you're able to respond one-on-one when somebody says, hey, I'm interested in this, or that sounds great, I can't wait to come, or when can I come for an appointment? So make sure that when you send out your emails that you're ready to respond, so that way you can engage them in an interaction, make sure they're ready, and invite them again in person to have a consultation so you can help them get their problem resolved with great urgency and care. Now, when you're doing all of those educational and entertaining ways of informing your audience and growing your audience about the problems you solve, the types of clients you're looking for, and what outcomes they should expect, these are the most effective ways to actually get them right in person. So again, it's the green button there is a text from your cell phone to a person, either a friend or somebody you know who can connect you to your next prospect. It's really important to think that as you're reaching out, you don't only have to ask everybody to buy from you. It's actually really fun to tell them what you're doing, invite them into your experience, and ask them to connect you to somebody they might know that would be interested in getting your services or has the problem that you're looking for. So again, it's send text, send DMs on the social platforms, make sure you're sending out campaigns on email, and as well as sending individual email replies or individual emails when you are able to start collecting contact information, and capture those contacts that come to your events, so that way you can ultimately, again, image on the right, a consultation with one of your staff and an interested person who has the problem and looks like your ideal client profile and is ready to get it resolved. Now, here are some examples. You can send out a mass text campaign. And by a mass text campaign, you can use a couple of different platforms. You can also do this in social DMs. I like to do text with just a quick little bit of a header, maybe a few little bullets, but then maybe a link. So that way they can just see it. They can click on the link and get more information and maybe enter their contact information, so they can say, hey, Stacy, I'm interested in, again, the image on the right, a consultation in person, because I am like one of your ideal clients and I have this significant problem that I think you can help me with. Or I can probably help you connect to people that you're looking for in my audience. Now, the most effective way to get a consultation booked is through a live conversation. So this could be a little bit scary, right? Because this means you pick up the phone, you probably click on their number from their text. But if you think about you offering some really valuable solution to a problem that somebody has and they were not able to get it resolved, you're actually a hero to your future prospect. So if you act with urgency and care, like you're about to make somebody's day, you don't have to be scared to make a phone call and get a live person on the other end. Nowadays people are starving for that attention or being, heard or understood. So, people sometimes will say, oh, I don't answer the phone, but you'd be surprised how many people will answer the phone when they know that you're somebody who can help a very busy woman who has been looking for solutions to get her depression and self-confidence boosted because she's been carrying around extra inches and she's just so down. And now you get to be their hero. And again, then you get them in front of you at your location, at the table to discuss the terms and the experience of you solving their problem over the next 10 weeks. Does this make sense? I think people get so carried away around sounding spammy or salesy. But if you reposition the value of what you're offering, then you actually are a hero to somebody because they've been living probably with misery and frustration, and you get to save the day. Okay, so let's say you get them to the table. Now, what does that interaction look like, right? So you got them there, and then you understand, in the beginning, remember we were talking about the offer and some of the outline of your consultation. So when you're sitting at the table with them and they say, I'm here for my consultation, I saw something that was interesting, please tell me more about this. And then you actually, instead of feeling defensive, like they should, you know, challenge you about price. Instead, ask them more about their problem. So you can become a trusted advisor who has experience and expertise with the problem that they've been living with. And then you're able to educate them on what that solution will look like and how their life will be much more fulfilling and easier without the pain they've been carrying. So I want to tell you that that's very different than what people think a consultation should look like. Meaning, instead of sitting there and saying, okay, this is what most common businesses do. And I'm going to teach you a way to do this at a more elevated experience level. So most people will sit there and say, okay, so you came to me because you're looking for, losing inches in the waistline. And they say, well, how much? And you go right to, well, it's, $1,500 for 5 sessions, or it's $3,000 for 10 sessions, but I'm going to give you this really great discount because you're a Facebook offer. So I'm giving it at 30% discount. And they go, all right, let's wait. Let me try it and see. And then you're so excited because you got them to try it. And now they're laying on the massage table and you've got the device and you've got all of your amazing skills and experience, and you're pouring it into this discounted treatment. So I want to tell you that instead of going that route where it's strictly financial interaction, and they're also a bit skeptical, and so you feel like you got them to your single first initial treatment, but you actually don't have their confidence, I would encourage you to go a different route. So if you're sitting at that table, what I would recommend you to do is ask them more about their problem. What did they see in your offer that resonated with them? Why is now the time they want to get this problem resolved? What have they done or researched that they're interested in or not interested in? What is it they're trying to avoid by doing this type of treatment? And so some of the things that come out of that interaction is, well, I've been looking for some time. I had no idea what other options. I saw your ad or your post, or my friend told me about this, and I really didn't do, I don't really know much about it, but I absolutely am so tired about the way I feel. I'm interested in doing something that doesn't go under the knife. I'm really busy and I'm traveling for work. I cannot afford to be sick with recovery or potential downside of problems, when I'm doing something aesthetic for myself. It feels somewhat selfish for me to even want to do this type of treatment. So if you're able to elicit a conversation like that, right? They just poured their heart to you and they told you all the reasons they want you to perform and have this professional relationship with them. It's so different than the opposite, right? And now they're sitting there looking to you, like inviting you to help them get out of their pain. Um, and then you talk about the cadence of their visits, you talk about the process, and then you just execute the play, meaning you just you tell them, we're going to do your first of 10 today. We're going to put the next 9 on autopilot over the next, 2 weeks and recurring or weekly or twice a week, whatever your recommendation is, and then get them started. They will often say, well, how much is it, right? Because they want to know. And so I would usually say the price times the number of sessions, show that it's a discounted when they buy it in bulk instead of a single treatment. And then also remind them that in context, although this is potentially $3,000, which is 300 times 10 treatments, most of my clients are avoiding things like, risks associated with surgery or the $7,000 tummy tuck or the mommy makeover that they've been researching or have done other things that they're trying to avoid doing again. And so you never should ever, ever give price without the context of where it fits in their value of the problem. Does that make sense? Sometimes people will send me a DM and say, how much is it? And so instead of just saying it's $350 or it's $450 or it's a discount of 200, you should never just leave one price alone. Give it in context so they understand that this is an offer, it's limited, it's part of a bigger package or bigger outcome. Because people, they want to challenge you, but then you have to just remind them that you're a trusted advisor and that you're going to help them with the bigger problem, which is not just what they can do and gain in 1 hour. It's what they can gain over the course of 12 or 10 weeks, right? And then you get them to their treatment, which is the middle photo. And then you're able to schedule their appointments and collect payment. And then you just put the rest of their experience on autopilot. Okay. So we went over the in-person demonstrations / consultations. We talked about the different types of content you can share online, printed, as well as some of the digital assets, right? The next, we're going to talk about referral and invitations into their audience. So referral. Referral is often considered a client referring you to another client, right? I'd like to encourage you to think of referral as just connections for you to meet more people and find people with the problem and educate them on, the value of that problem and see if they have urgency to get that problem solved. So what I'm trying to say is, don't just think about referrals as a direct connection to a sale. I want you to continue the same process of making sure when somebody says, hey, Stacy, I'd like you to meet Michael. He has he might know somebody that could help you. I want you to make sure that when you do that, you're circling back with, this is who I'm looking to connect with. I'm looking to connect with busy working moms who are juggling family and professions that don't have time to get their body goals met on their own and are looking for help so that way they can save time and get, predictable results. You see that? It's almost like I've said that a million times, right? So your version of that might be slightly different because you might have a different type of offer and your target audience might be either younger or older. Maybe they aren't working moms, maybe they aren't women at all. But when you nail down the who you're trying to solve, what they look like and what problems they're avoiding, then it's so much easier to have these interactions with your connections, your referral connections. Now, when you look to the left, you see I have a bunch of screenshots, right? So what I'm trying to show you is that every time I see a valuable referral, it could be somebody I know personally. It could be a client who really enjoyed her experience. But what you see, right, looking at my page here, you see different brands or different companies. But what I see is 6 people behind those links. So let me explain this further. Let's go to the top left. Studio 29 Hair Salon. The owner is a great friend of mine that I go to often. And a lot of people that I've referred to her have been going to her for years. So it looks like Studio 29 is an advocate of mine, but really it's Rachel, the person who owns the salon, and she's now proud to be able to offer some sort of, discounted treatment experience, or discounted treatment and an amazing experience to her audience. And so the image here is to show you that I make it so easy for her to refer me because I'm creating a lead capture, which essentially is a contact form. So when she talks to her audience, she's able to say, hey, fill out Stacy's form and she will call you. Let's look at the next one, St. Joseph's High School. It's a private school in our area. Many of my clients have kids that go there, and they were hosting some sort of fundraiser, and they asked me to support it with a donation of money as a sponsor, as well as a gift card towards a treatment. So in addition to giving them free stuff, right? Free certificate so they can make more money, saying they have a $250 voucher for Stacy's business. I also created a landing, like a link, a contact form. So if anybody wanted in their audience, they can feel that St. Joseph School supports or is connected to cryocontouring with Stacy, and they can benefit by getting a discount on their first treatment and get an amazing client experience. So the difference between the first scenario I described, a personal friend who has amazing experience and really great relationships. The second one was clients, right? Who work and have students going to a private school, and they asked me to give. So then I also created a referral connection. So the reason I'm giving you such specific, background is so that way you can be creative, but always think about when you're giving something to somebody and they want to reciprocate by sending you people, make it very easy for them to connect with you by creating some sort of image that looks credible. Look, I create basically different formats of the same type of flyer, but then a contact form so they feel like, okay, this is a contact that is specific for this company and I'm associated with this company. And so the other images are very similar. The next one is Mount St. Mary's. It's an all-girls Catholic school. A lot of my clients go there. One of my clients has a couple of my clients actually have children that go there. They host some spring fling and they wanted me to donate. And that, again, did similar like I did with St. Joe's. True Definition Pilates Studio, we hosted an event there. And so I created a lead capture. So when their audience were interested and came to the event, I could capture the traffic and the leads and then offer them a discount on their first treatment. I'm the fourth one from the fifth one from the top says BR. I'm a volunteer board member for a local sports team, sports club, which is basically the local high school. I have 3 children that go there and they're all athletes. And so I contribute a lot of my time there. And I, of course, am sponsoring many of their initiatives. And so I also create an offer for that audience. The bottom one, the hospital, it's Robert Wood Johnson Hospital. There's a couple of hospitals and different professional buildings in my area. And so many of my clients are nurses or doctors or administration at this hospital group. I have a couple, I think I have 1, 2, 3, 4 clients that work at this institution, and they're interested in hosting events. And so when they do, again, I have a contact form so I can capture the interest of their audience. So in that way, I'm able to capture who's interested. The call to action is you fill this out, you get a discount on your treatment, which is why, what creates the urgency for them to fill it out, not just view it. And it's an invitation so they can come in person and I could give them a consultation and find out if they're the right target audience, and I can solve their unmet need, which is their body goals that they're not able to get resolved on their own. All right. Now, the other point is, you could see the little yellow box to the right. It says, what is your referral value? So in addition to people bringing me prospects via connections through those leads, I want you to think about, who do you refer to and how valuable is that? So what I do is I'm renting space inside a wellness center. Inside that wellness center, I also purchase services for myself, but I also refer my clients, and I'm tracking my referral value. Why do I do that? That way I know when my clients say, Stacy, I did your contouring package and then I also did sauna and full body, I'm able to see how much money or value did I also refer. And that's really helpful because it also if I were to go to that wellness center or to another wellness center, I can say, let's broker a deal so my clients can get treatments at your business and you can refer to mine. So in this case, over the last year and 3 months, I generated 88 referrals. So people I know, either through friends or clients, to the wellness center, and that generated for them $16,000 of revenue in the time period that I was referring. So that's over $1,000 a month that they benefited because I was referring to them. So that's really important, because then when you go, like if I were to take this to another wellness center or to another business and say, my clients are really valuable, they not only do body contouring, but they also do services like this. Are you interested in collaborating? And I'm pretty sure with data like that, many people would say, please, Stacy, will you please refer to me? Let's discuss a way we can collaborate. Feedback and testimonials, essentially they're the same thing, right? Feedback is when somebody says, hey, Stacy, I really enjoyed my service. This is the results I got. This is what my experience was like. They can provide that either through a Google review. They can do it directly via text message. Usually those are always fun. They're usually private, and they just send a quick text saying, I'm still glowing 3 days later. Thank you so much. My skin feels lifted and tightened. Or you can do also a voice or video testimonial where they talk about their experience. So there's so many ways to capture your client's feedback. Now, I want to tell you this is really important, because when a client provides feedback, they're providing it in their own words. So when other prospects are reading their feedback, they're imagining it the way somebody else described it. And that's actually so much more credible than me, the business owner, who's probably biased because I want to help more people. And my language might be different than what somebody experiences inside my business in their own words. So I want to tell you, this is really important. Additionally, it's important because when you understand your client's experience, you're able to train others what good looks like, right? So if somebody says, this is, I had a fantastic experience. My results are so amazing. I lost this amount of inches. I'm, rocking a bikini on spring break. I can't wait to walk down the aisle. And it's that feedback that you could use in your training materials for your next staff. It's really helpful for you to know where you can potentially target your next ideal clients, right? So if they just told you, I'm rocking my new bikini, you could think about, oh, maybe I could collaborate with clothing stores that sell spring clothing. I'm, going to be walking down the aisle and I had many alterations on my dress because I lost so many inches. Now that's also an idea. You could probably find more prospects like them and share this story at bridal exhibits or wedding halls. So this provides a wealth of information and ideas for you to generate more business and create better relationships with your future potential connectors and clients. So make sure you're consciously, proactively soliciting feedback and testimonials. Here's a screenshot from my um, Google My Business page. You could see there's, to date, there's 24 reviews and about 5-star reviews. And then on these pages here, I took some screenshots of some of the verbiage so you can see exactly the way our clients are describing the experience at our business. And it's really amazing to read these because it's also inspiration, when you're feeling like you're not making a difference, or if you get a little distant from your business. When you read these, you're able to see that you're making such a significant positive impact on somebody's life. And that's fuel that keeps me going and my employees. Now, the content that you're collecting, make sure you're keeping track of this. Take screenshots, store it in a library, sort of a folder, and make sure that when you have the interactions with your clients, that you follow up after the event, as well as their consultation, and give them a heads up about their next appointment. So you're constantly having that communication closure to keep the relationship moving forward. So I hope that you were able to learn how to convert awareness to revenue. And it is my goal that you use this information so you can create predictable success with your non-invasive body contouring business. I'd love to hear from you what you learned and what it is that questions you might still have. Was that helpful? Which part was the most interesting or new, I would say? What did you find that was the new information in this that that you didn't get somewhere else? The consultation process, yes. The consultation process tends to be reactive and stressful, and I want you to teach your providers to be proactive in soliciting objections and learning about the client. You should spend probably 99% of the time learning and listening and about the problem, and it's almost not at all about inches and cryoskin or knee skin or what treatment. The point of the consultation is to learn if this is even appropriate for this specific person and if they're ready to make this investment. Then you get to have the upper hand, right? Because you get to decide, you know what, it could look like, well, it doesn't sound like you're ready to make this investment because I can guarantee we can't make you, for example, lose 3 inches in one treatment. It's not realistic that I can do that in 1 hour. And then potentially, if you don't commit to a protocol of weekly treatments over the next 10, 12, or what have you weeks, you're absolutely not going to see the lasting results because you could sabotage those results pretty easily in the 6, 7, 8 days until I see you at the next appointment, and we can, undo all the effects of a 1 hour treatment. So if you're proactive in just educating them about what to expect, how valuable the problem is, then they will trust you, and you really don't even need to talk about the actual solution. You just are able to have experience speak for itself. All right. Well, thank you so much. I hope this was helpful, and you're welcome to email me, text me, or DM me if there's any other information you'd like. Have a fantastic day. It's a pleasure always.